Okay. Now I will start. Okay. So good morning, friends. I'm Sunita Fadkule, working as a professor in mechanical engineering at JSPM Jaywantrao Sawant College of Engineering, Hadapsar, Pune. Okay. So today we are going to start unit number 2, that is on single DOA forced vibrations. Okay. So today our topic will be say learning outcome. We will see what will be two learning outcomes. First learning outcome will be learner will understand the concept and applications of force vibrations. Okay. Then second output will be you will be able to estimate the equation of motion for force damp vibration. Okay. So let us start the forced vibrations. Now, before that one, we will just revise in 2 minutes what we have learned in unit number 1. That is what is the title of what was the title of unit number 1? Single DOF system, free vibrations, undamped and damped. Both cases we have studied. Okay. So in short, in unit number 1, we have studied free vibrations. Okay. Undamped free also, damped free also. And now in this unit, we are going to study forced vibrations, undamped force vibration also, and damped force vibrations also. But basically, we are going to concentrate on forced damped vibrations, because whenever it is a forced vibrations, damping in majority cases we provide the damping. Okay, so forced damped vibrations is our today's topic. So what contents I am going to cover? First, we will introduce that what do you mean by force vibrations, what are its applications, and what is the equation of motion for force vibration. Okay. So now you know that what is the free vibration, that whenever body vibrates on its own because of the elastic properties, means no external force is acting, so that is a free vibrations. But here in force vibration, when the body vibrates under the influence of external force, okay, then the body is said to be under the force vibration. So what is the difference here? That external force is continuously acting on the body, and because of this external force, see the wording is very important. What is mentioned here? A periodic disturbing force, which is the external acting force, that is also known as a external excitation. Okay, excitation means the force only. So as long as the external excitation is acting on the system, the forced vibrations are created, say created in the mechanical part. Okay. So in the first unit, we have studied the free vibrations of the system, where a system once disturbed from its equilibrium position, it executes vibrations because of its elastic properties. Okay. And the system will come to the rest sooner or later, depending on the amount of damping present in the system. Okay. However, in the force vibration, there is an impressed force. See, so many names are there of that force. We call it as an impressed force, external force, or external excitation. Okay, so many names are there. Then the system, so that force keeps the system vibrating. Okay, so it is very important for the designer to be able to make a mathematical model for a system subjected to forcing function. Okay, and then to analyze it. Okay, so there are in general 3 types of forcing functions commonly used in engineering practice. The first one is periodic forcing function. Second one is impulsive type forcing function, and the third one is random forcing function. Okay, so out of these 3, okay, let us see the random forcing function first. What is random forcing function? You go by the meaning. What do you mean by random? Okay, random means at random, no judgment, no prediction, etc. So the forcing function is at random completely, no prediction. So the most typical random forcing function, the most typical example is earthquake. Earthquake excitations. Okay, whenever the earthquake is taking place, it is nothing but the force only, no? All the force waves will be transmitted on the surface of the earth, and then we feel it in terms of amplitude, in terms of vibrations. Okay, so this is the random forcing functions at random. Okay, so this is completely out of scope of our syllabus, so we are not going to study it. Okay, so random forcing function is not there for your syllabus. This is the third type. Now the second type is impulsive type forcing function. Okay, what do you mean by impulse? Again, go by the meaning. Impulse means asa dhakka dene. Okay, just an impact. Okay, so but that is only once only. You cannot continuously push. This force is not continuously acting. Okay, so it is an impulse impact. So vibrations due to impulsive forces are called as a transient vibrations. Okay, see, many times this word will come. Transient vibrations means it's a real time vibrations. Okay, so what will happen due to impulsive type of force functions? After certain time, those vibrations will be vanished because force is not continuously acting. That is a impulse type. For example, something fell down on the floor. Okay, that will create the impact and that will create vibrations of that body also, but for a very small time. After certain time, those vibrations will die out. Okay, so that is an impulsive type forcing function. That is also not there for our syllabus. Okay, basically just what is the transient vibrations are there, that we are going to study somewhat. Okay, but the main forcing function now, that is a first one, periodic forcing function. Okay, again go by the meaning. What do you mean by periodic? Which is repeated continuously after certain interval of time. That is a periodic. Okay, so these periodic forces can be further divided into two categories. One is harmonic, other is non-harmonic. What do you mean by harmonic? Means like sine wave. It's a harmonic, sine or cos wave. Non-harmonic means there is no harmony. It will be of any say wave. Okay, it is not constant, so that is a non-harmonic. So again, for your syllabus, you have to study only harmonic excitation. Non-harmonic is not there for your syllabus. Okay, and basically all designers, they are studying harmonic only. So if you want to study non-harmonic, so just extend the study of harmonic excitation for the non-harmonic. Understood? So here what is important in this unit, we are going to study forced vibrations due to what? Due to periodic forcing function, that is of harmonic type. Okay, so this we are going to, this is mainly syllabus of our today's lecture. Okay, now let us go to this periodic forcing function. Okay, there's a very good example of this periodic forcing function. Consider the ringing of electric bell. You know, once you press the button, okay, that means when the electric supply will be on, what happens? Electric bell, that is the sound will be coming, bell will be ringing. Okay, so how much time it will ring? As long as electric supply will be on, circuit will be on, or as long as you press your finger on the button. Okay, so as soon as you take off your hand, okay, or electric supply will be off, ringing of bell will be vanish. Now what happens here? Ringing of bell means whatever the inside that atom is, that part is there, that is going to vibrate. So that vibrations create the noise, create the sound, not noise, you can say the sound. Okay, so this is the best example of harmonic type forcing function. Okay, why harmonic? Because it is a steady, it is constant, it is in harmonic fashion. Okay, that is when it will be, and as long as the external force is acting on that system, it is vibrating. As soon as you take off your, make off the electric circuit, it will be gone. Okay, so this is the best example of you can say force vibration due to external excitation of harmonic type. Other examples, if you take, there are so many examples. You take any machine tool. Okay, cutting process. You take drilling, you take lathe, planing machine, shaper machine. In every machine, there is a cutting force is there. Okay, so whatever the forces are there, those continuously the vibrations are there. So these vibrations are taking place due to external excitation. Okay, so take any example of, say, any machinery. You can say turbine, you can say pump, motor, engine. All these are the examples of forced vibrations. Even if you take example of, suppose, this one bridge, I'm sure that you might have watched the video of that Tacona bridge. Okay, how it fell. So that was the example, that is the example of force vibration. Okay, because of the resonance it fell. So resonance occurs only in case of force vibration. Resonance term is not applicable in free vibration, because in free vibration the system will vibrate only with the natural frequency, that is the omega n. But in force vibration, the system will vibrate with the forcing frequency, that is omega. And when omega is equal to omega n, the resonance occurs. Okay, so the other examples of, you can say, the chimney, a very long heighted chimney, that may also vibrate with the help by the wind, or telephone cables. Okay, these cables also vibrate with the because of the wind. So wind is the external force acting on that one, correct? So this is nothing but these are the examples of force vibrations. Okay, so now what we are going to study, mathematical part. But before that one, let us see what are the sources of excitation. Okay, so what are the sources of excitation? Means external excitation to a system can be easily detected, but there are another excitation also which are internal. Okay, so external excitations can be divided into external excitation, means external force which is acting on the system, because of which vibrations are created, or vibrations may be because of the internal excitations. Internal excitation means internal force. What is that force? That is unbalanced force. So due to unbalance of the system, the force vibrations will be created in the system. Okay, this unbalance we are going to study in detail in unit number 4. The title of the unit number 4 is balancing of the system. Why balancing is necessary for all rotary motion, rotary parts. Okay, so that causes the vibrations. See, there are two parts, cause and effect. Unbalance is the cause. Because of the unbalance present in the rotor starts vibrating. Okay, so vibrations is the effect, force vibrations, and unbalance is the cause. So whenever the questions will be asked in the oral, students get confused. Unbalance will cause the vibrations, or vibrations will cause the unbalance? No, what is true? Because of the unbalanced forces present in the system, system will vibrate. So we have to always avoid unbalancing in the system. So how to balance those systems, that we are going to study in detail in unit number 4. Okay, now what are the different reasons of this unbalance? Okay, there are, all these are the internal forces. Means now that unbalanced force means it is basically a centrifugal force, nothing else. Centrifugal, because it is usually in the rotary parts, no? So whenever any system is rotating, there is a centrifugal force is there, and that because of that unbalanced centrifugal force, the parts will vibrate. Okay, so what are the reasons of unbalance? Okay, this is just a theoretical part, you just go through it. Because of the thermal effect. Okay, because the metals are having different coefficient of thermal expansion, and when they are joined together, their rate of expansion is different. So the at interfaces at the adjacent members, the vibrations may created. Then resonance, I already told you that resonance will create a large amplitude vibrations. Then loose and defective mating parts, if the parts are loosely fitted, or defective parts is there like nut or shaft or bearing, etc., then also the unbalance will be created. Or the shaft is not perfectly straight, it is a bent shaft. Okay, that will also create the unbalance in the system. Or bearing or journal, if there is a defect in the ball or inner race or outer race, something like that, then that also create the unbalance in the system, or variation in the turning moment of the engine. Okay, in theory of machine 2 you are going to study this flywheel. Okay, so due to that flywheel, you know, there are 4 strokes are there. Okay, power stroke and remaining strokes. So the best example of the flywheel is punching operation. Okay, punching operation which is taking place in a punching press. So in the in these 4 strokes there are different energies are associated with different stroke, so that will create the unbalance in the system. Okay, so these are the reasons. There is one more reason, that is the mass of the rotating parts not distributed uniformly. That means CG of the rotating part is not falling on the geometric center of the rotating parts. That will also create the unbalance. And the last one is the magnetic effect. Because of the stray magnetic field in near about the machine elements, it may create the unbalance. Okay, so understood, that was just the reasons. Those were the reasons of why unbalance is created in the system. And because of this unbalance, the vibrations are created in the system, and that is termed as a forced vibrations. Remember, in free vibration there is no internal force also. Free vibrations are created only because of the elasticity of the system and because of the mass. Okay, but in force vibration, the extra say vibrations will be due to external force. If it is internal, it is only because of the unbalanced force. Understood? Okay, now there are total 3 cases we are going to study of the force vibration. Okay, the first case, what is the title of that first case? Force vibration with constant harmonic excitation. Okay, so that means force vibration due to external excitation. Okay, external forces acting on that system. So this is the first case which we are going to study in too much detail. Okay, then second case we are going to study force vibration due to unbalanced force. Right now I told you why unbalance creates the vibrations. So force vibration due to unbalanced force, this is the second topic. And third topic will be force vibration due to you can say vibration of the support. Okay, if your support is only vibrating, that will create the vibration in the machinery. Okay, so that will be the third case. And then we are going to study force transmissibility, motion transmissibility, and then critical speed. So this is nothing but the syllabus of unit number 2. Okay, so out of that one, this is the first case which we are going to study in detail. Okay, force vibration with constant harmonic excitation. Okay, so can you see my PPT? No, sorry, this PDF. Okay, now let us see what is the system. This is the vibratory system. It consists of spring having stiffness K. It consists of say damper having damping coefficient C, and then it consists of the mass which is vibrating. Okay, and basically it consists of a sinusoidal force, external excitation, which is not steady, which is dynamic. It is continuously changing its direction, upward to downward, downward to upward, like this. Okay, and what is its magnitude or force is always shown by F0 sine omega t, F0 sine omega t. Okay, what is F0 or F0, whatever you mean. So F0 sine omega t means what? F0 is the magnitude of the force. Say 5 kilonewton, 10 kilonewton, some magnitude will be there, no, for that force. And omega, this is very important term. This omega is the frequency with which this force is exciting, giving the excitation. So omega is known as the external excitation frequency. Remember, omega, what again I will repeat, omega is known as a external excitation frequency. That means the frequency of the external force, that is omega. Okay, because this force is not steady, this is also vibrating, you can say vibrating, you can say in general term. So it is also continuously say acting on the body upward and downward. Okay, so this type of force is there, that is going to create the force vibration in the system. Okay, so X is the downward direction shown here. So this is the say vibratory system in the equilibrium position. Okay, now let us see, this is the free body diagram. Okay, if we draw the free body diagram of mass, what are the forces acting on this system? Okay, so let us see what are the forces acting on this system. Let me take this annotate. You can see the annotate, no? Okay, so what are the system acting, what are the forces acting here? See, at this moment your mass is moving down, that means displacement is downward, hence acceleration is also downward. Okay, so spring force will be upward, having magnitude kx. Damping force will be upward, having magnitude c into x dot. Okay, then inertia force. Now see, here purposely I am applying D'Alembert's principle, because in unit number 1 we have solved many problems by applying Newton's second law of motion. Okay, but now I want you to solve few problems by D'Alembert's principle also. So if we want to apply D'Alembert's principle to this mass, okay, that inertia force will be always in the opposite direction of the motion. Okay, so your mass is moving down, so inertia force will be acting upward. What is this magnitude? It will be same, m into x double dot. That is the inertia force, force into acceleration, m into x double dot. Okay, and then this force, see, because of this external force your mass is moving up and down, vibrating. So now at this instant, as your body is moving down, because your force is also acting down, because of this force your body is moving down, so your force, what is the direction of external excitation? Downward at this moment, F4 sine omega t. So there are 4 forces acting on this system: spring force kx, damping force cx dot, inertia force mx double dot, and external excitation, that is the external force F4 sine omega t. Okay, now we have to apply the D'Alembert's principle. Okay, so what is the D'Alembert's principles equation? All summation of all the forces is equal to 0. Okay, what was the equation? Do you remember? For Newton's second law of motion, inertia force is equal to summation of all the forces. Okay, but here instead of Newton's second law we are applying D'Alembert's principle. So D'Alembert's principle means, you know, with the help of D'Alembert's principle, any moving body has brought to the rest position, and that is the reason that inertia force is always acting in the opposite direction of the motion. Okay, and your body is steady. That means what? Summation of all the forces is equal to 0. This is the equation. Okay, now we are considering upward direction positive. Okay, so what is the upward direction positive means? See, the forces acting on the body here. Spring force is upward, damping force is upward, inertia force is upward, only external excitation is downward. Okay, so what will be the D'Alembert's principle? You will write down here, summation of all the forces is equal to 0, upward direction positive, that means mx double dot plus cx dot plus kx minus F4 sine omega t is equal to 0. This is minus because acting in downward direction. Okay, now take this term on right hand side, mx double dot plus cx dot plus kx is equal to F4 sine omega t. This is the equation of motion of forced vibration due to external excitation. As I told you, there will be 3 cases we are going to study. This is the first case. Second case is due to unbalanced force. Equation of motion will be somewhat different. And the third case will be force vibration due to support excitation. Okay, equation of motion will be different in that case. Okay, so this is the very general case. Okay, whenever somebody will ask you what is the equation of motion for force vibration, you have to tell this one only. Okay, this is a very general case. Understood? Do you remember what was the equation of motion for free vibration? Yes, anybody can unmute and tell me, because you cannot type in the chat box. Tell me, what is the equation of motion for damped free vibration? Anybody can unmute and tell me? Nobody? Yes? Soham? Kanchan? Bharat? What is the equation of motion for damped free vibration? Is it so difficult question? Okay. I will only answer now because we don't have any time. Okay. So what is the equation of motion for damped free vibration? Mx double dot plus Cx dot plus Kx is equal to 0. If you remember, on right hand side it was 0. Okay. But for forced damped vibration, equation of motion, left hand side will be same. Mx double dot plus Cx dot plus Kx. That means all three forces are there, is equal to Fo sin omega t. And now what type of equation is it? This is a second order differential equation, but this is a non-homogeneous equation. Okay. In damped free vibration, where on right hand side there was a 0, it was a homogeneous equation. Okay. Why homogeneous? Because on the right hand side it was 0. Okay. But here in force vibration, you have to right hand side is not 0. It is Fo sin omega t. That's why this equation is non-homogeneous equation. And now we have to see how to how to find out the solution for non-homogeneous equation. If you remember, what is the solution for damped free vibration? We have found out there were 3 cases: over damp, critically damp, under damp. Okay, what was the solution? That will be coming further, so I'm not repeating here. Okay, so one more important term here we have to always remember, or frequently it will come into picture, that is known as a frequency ratio. Okay, frequency ratio, it is the ratio of frequency of excitation to the natural frequency. So frequency ratio, in some book they have used the small r letter, but I will be always using omega upon omega n only, not using any letter. Okay, so omega is what? External excitation frequency. Omega n is the natural frequency. So frequency ratio, henceforth we will always speak in the analysis in terms of frequency ratio. Always remember, omega upon omega n. Every graph will be on x-axis, it will be omega upon omega n. That is a frequency ratio. Understood? Okay. So this is your equation of motion. Now let us analyze this equation. Okay. So this is a linear, non-homogeneous, second order differential equation for the forced damp vibratory system. Okay. The solution of this equation consists of 2 parts. First part is complementary function or complementary solution, which is denoted by xc. C is the suffix. C stands for complementary. And the second part of the solution is particular integral into bracket, that is the notation is xp. P stands for particular and P is the suffix. Okay. So what will be the complete solution of the force vibration? It is x is equal to xc plus xp. Okay. Did you understand? The solution of this equation consists of 2 parts. First is the complementary solution, that is known as xc. Second part is a particular solution, that is known as a xp. So the total, that is complete solution of the force vibration, is given by x is equal to xc plus xp. Okay. Now today we are going to study only complementary function. Within 5 minutes we will finish. Okay. But the second part, which is very important, that is a particular integral, that is a particular solution, that we are going to study in the next video session. Okay. Now, do you know what is the meaning of complementary? We always say it is a complementary. Okay. So complementary, I have taken the dictionary meaning of complementary. Add to, so that you can understand thoroughly from the basic concept. So what is the meaning of complementary? add to something in a way that improves, or other meaning is combining so as to form a complete or the whole solution which enhance each other. Okay, that means what? This is not the main solution, it is just complementary, it is a secondary part, you can say. Main solution is particular integral. So what is the meaning of particular? Meaning of the particular is in detail. Okay, it is in detail you are going to study. Particular means detail, and complementary means it is just a you can say addition. Okay, so today we are going to study only XC part. What is the complementary solution for force vibration? So the complementary solution is obtained from the differential equation as follows: mx double dot plus cx dot plus kx is equal to 0. You see, right hand side is 0. So this is what? This is the equation of motion for damped free vibration. Okay, that is by considering no forcing function. If your forcing function is 0, this is the homogeneous say differential equation. You know what is the solution for this one? We already studied. There are 3 cases: under damp, over damp, critically damp. Okay, so what is the solution? Do you remember? We have studied in unit number 1. The solution for under damp vibration for equation 2. That means this is your equation 2. Mx double dot plus Cx dot plus Kx is equal to 0. So the solution for equation 2 for under damp vibration is given as Xc is equal to, here instead of X I have written Xc because this is a complementary. Xc is equal to A2 into e raised to minus zeta omega nt into sine square root of 1 minus zeta square into omega nt plus phi 2. Remember this, we have studied in the earlier lecture. What is Xc? Complementary solution. What is zeta? Damping ratio. What is omega n? Natural frequency of the system. T is the time. And what are A2 and phi 2? These are the 2 constants which are to be obtained from initial conditions. We have solved many problems also. Understood? So this, you are familiar with this equation. This is the solution for under damped vibration. So already no need to study separately. Already you have studied the say complementary solution. Okay. Now instead of under damped vibrations, okay, if vibrations is over damped or critically damped, what will be the solution? See, I have written here. For over damped vibration, vibratory system, Xc, the solution is given as C1 e raised to S1t. What is S1? Minus zeta plus square root of 1 minus zeta square into omega n. Plus C2 into e raised to S2t. What is S2? Minus zeta minus square root of 1 minus zeta square into omega n. So this is plus sign here, it is minus sign here. So in short, what is the solution for over damped system? Xc is equal to C1 e raised to S1t plus C2 e raised to S2t, where S1 is given by this formula, S2 is given by this formula. Okay. If the system is critically damped, what is the solution for complementary solution? Xc is equal to C1 plus C2t into e raised to minus omega n t, because zeta is 1 here, no? It is e raised to minus zeta omega n t plus zeta, but zeta is 1 here. It is a critically damped. So the critically damped system solution is this one. What is C1 and C2 here, or C1 and C2 here? These are the 2 constants, the values of which we are going to find out by applying the initial conditions. But initial conditions we are not going to apply to this solution Xc. No, we are going to apply initial condition to the final solution, final, complete. That means X is equal to Xc plus Xp. To that complete solution, we are going to apply the initial condition, and then we are going to find out the values of A2 and phi 2. Okay. So this is your complementary solution. Now in the next lecture, we are going to study particular solution, that is XP, which is very, the most important part of your unit number 2. If you miss that part, it is very difficult to understand just by reading that one. Okay. So please don't miss the next lecture. It is very important, and we may require just 1 hour, because I want to complete that part completely. Say maybe 45 minutes we require. Okay. So any doubt now? Let me stop the presentation first, so that wait.